Hello again. Sorry I haven't done any videos for a while. I've been a bit busy doing other things. I've been getting on my website and also other jobs around the house and that to do. And also I need to get motivated to do the videos. You know, it's all too easy when you stop for a bit. You think, oh, I can't be bothered. And hence I haven't done anything. Although I have actually made a few videos, but I haven't actually published them because I haven't got round to editing them. Anyway, I digress. That's nothing to do with why I'm here today. Why I'm here today is about 2 years ago, I did a video on this radial arm saw of mine, explaining how brilliant it was, and how I'd had it for sort of nearly 30 years without any problem whatsoever. Well, last week we came to use it, press the switch on here, dead as a dodo. So I thought, oh great, that's something. Anyway, so I realised that it's not a complicated machine, not like today's stuff with high-tech printed circuits and chips and all sorts of things with digital displays. It's a straightforward machine, and I knew that it's either the motor faulty, and I doubted that because they're usually pretty reliable induction motors, or the switch itself, or wiring. It was unlikely to be the wiring because I haven't disturbed anything, so I looked for the switch first of all. So I took the cover off here, and inside you'll see the little switch here. This is the switch. It's a complicated affair. It's a no volt release switch for safety, which means that if the power goes off for any reason, when the power comes back on, the saw won't work until you repress the switch. It sort of latches on, if you like. It's a no volt release. It's also got an overload cut out in it, so if you overload the saw, it cuts it out. But I looked online for these switches and they are readily available, but we're talking about £90 for a switch. I mean, £90 is ridiculous really for that switch. You could buy a whole saw for that. I mean, you couldn't buy one of these, but you could buy a saw for it, and it seemed excessive to me. So what I thought about doing was, rather than buy another switch to put in there, I'd get a no volt release switch and fit it on the wall. So what I've done, I bought this switch here, lot. This is a no volt release switch that I bought. This was quite reasonable. I paid, I think it was £21 for this complete. And you've got your start button here, green one, and the stop button, and also an emergency stop button at the top. Now this button here, apparently it's normally out, and you just pop that in and it cuts the power, and then if you want to use it again, you just turn it like that and it springs out again, then you press the start button and go away. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to fit this on the wall by the spur box. I've got a spur box on the wall there, look. There we go. Now there's the spur box, and I thought I'll mount that. I've cleared the clamps and things out, and I'm going to mount that on there, look, right next door to that spur box, because I've got sufficient wiring here coming out of the saw, and I thought what I can do, with minimal effort, I can cut that wire and put the feed in one side and the feed to the saw into this unit here, hence saving a lot of work. So that's why I'm going to fit that up there and do that. Obviously down here, I'm going to take this switch out because I don't need it anymore, and I should just bypass the switch. I know it's a switch faulty, by the way, I forgot to mention, but what I did, I bypassed it, connected it up directly, and the saw worked fine without it. So I knew that the switch itself is faulty. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut that out completely and bypass it. I'll use a little what we call chocolate block terminal connector like that to bypass it. I could use some clamp terminals, but I think that would be the best thing. And then if ever you did want to replace the switch, you can go back to it. So I'm going to do that, but then I'll have a hole in the front where the switch fits in. So what I thought was, I've got an actual, there's the cover, original cover, and I've got a spare cover because some time ago the handle broke. I had to buy a new handle, and it came with a new top as well, which I didn't need. So I thought what I could do, this switch, I could cut a piece out of this cover and slot it in there in the front, and then put the top back and lock it off, and there'll be, you know, that'll blank the electrics off and make it safe. So, and I thought, well, I might as well use that because I'm never going to need a top cover, and I can cut it out and it will match the saw and look okay. There's no point in putting any sort of switch in there now, because that thing I've just described, the no volt release switch, will replace it, and it would be pointless having a switch in there. It'll just be a nuisance actually. So I'm just going to cut that out and put that in there, and then connect it up. I'm just going to show you how to wire the switch up because it's not straightforward unless you're used to electronics. Oh, by the way, my older grandson has just arrived. He won't appear on camera. He's a bit camera shy. He doesn't like the camera much. But one good point, he brought me a nice cup of tea, so I'm not complaining. So excuse me, I'll just have a sip. Anyway, I'll get back to the switch. You don't want to see me drinking tea. Basically, you've got your emergency switch on the top there, and it's just basically 2 switches there. And then you've got your no volt release switch at the bottom. What you've got to do is run 2 wires from there. Now the mains in will go to these 2 wires here. This connector here and this connector there, live and neutral. It doesn't matter which actually, but say live there, neutral there. And then on this side, you've got to run a wire from here to this terminal and a wire from here to this terminal. And then you connect your wires to the radial arm saw or the motor to these 2 here. And so what I'm going to do, I've got some little bits of wire here. Actually, this is wire that I took out of a washing machine 40 years ago, 1960s Hoover Keymatic, and it's perfect for this job because it's already got a fixed factory fitted terminal on the end and it's insulated as well, so I can use that onto this switch here and then just cut it and fit it into that terminal. And I've got a pink one here the same, which this is heavy enough duty because it used to control the heater on a Keymatic. That's nothing to do with this, but I thought I'd mention it. So I'm going to wire that up and hopefully that should be ready then to fit on the wall. Just for out of interest, in case anybody's planning to do the same thing, as you can see there, I've just put a pink wire from that side and a blue wire from that side and connect them using the amp tags onto this switch here. And then it's simply a matter of fixing the box on the wall and running the live and neutral into these and the 2 feeds to the motor there, and then use a little connector for the earth cables. I'm just going to show you the wiring in the switch and how I'm going to do that. It's quite straightforward actually. You've got your live and neutral in here, look. Just undo those 2 terminals, make sure it's all switched off. I've got the fuse out on the box on the wall, so it's perfectly safe. So I just remove those 2, and then you'll notice on this side there's 2 tags. There's one here which is the neutral to the motor, and then you've got this one with the two connectors on. One goes to the capacitor and one goes to the motor, so it's just a simple matter of joining these up together. I've done the switch bypass now. I've just used a little chocolate block, as you can see here, and that'll just sit neatly in there, and then that bit's done, and all I've got to do is make a little cover to fit in here where the switch went to make it safe, and put the top on, and then the job's done. Now in theory, if I turn the saw on now, that machine would now run because it's just bypassed, and I haven't done the switch on the wall yet, so that would actually work if you wanted to, but it would be a bit dangerous, wouldn't it? Anyway, that bit's done, so the next job is to fit the unit on the wall and connect it all up. Okay, well I've done the job. The only thing I haven't done is made the little plastic fitment to go in the space on the front of the saw, but I can do that later and finish that off. But I wanted to test it. I've got the fitting on the wall ready. All I've got to do now is turn the spur box on, and hopefully it should work when I press the green button. So here we go. I'll tidy the wires up and everything later as well. So turn that on, and the light comes on. This is automatically. Underneath there's a suction device which would normally come on, but I've turned it off at the moment so it's not too noisy, else you wouldn't be able to hear me speak. You might not want, you might prefer that, to be honest, but there you go. Anyway, so now by rights, if I press the green button, it should work. So, and it doesn't work. Now the reason for that is because this knob here is latched on, so I'm going to turn that clockwise and it springs out. Now when I press the green button, it should work. There we go. And it's working lovely. Now to stop it, you can press that red button there. Right, start it again. You can turn it off there, isolates the whole thing. Notice this thing popped out. And when you switch it back on, the saw doesn't come back on for obvious reasons. But by doing that, I was doing the same as a paracut. When the para come back on, you notice that it didn't work because it automatically, it's a no volt release switch in other words. So now I've turned it on again. Press it on. If you want to stop it, you just press that. But if you turn it on again, it won't work until you turn that knob to release it, because it sort of locks it in an off position, which is probably a good thing actually. It's a safety feature. Oh, and here's my grandson. He's bringing me another cup of tea, but he's hiding behind the camera, folks. Come on round and say hello. Come on. He won't come round, folks. Perhaps I'll put a photograph of him on that of him, won't he? He's got 2 cups of tea in his hand and he's hiding behind the camera, and he won't show himself. He's peering over the top. It's on filming. Don't you want to come round and say hello to the folks? You wimp. He's a wimp, folks. He won't appear on camera. He lets an old boy like me do it. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and hopefully somebody will find the video of interest. Oh, by the way, it's a Dewalt DW1251, in case anyone wants to know. If you've got a problem with a switch, you know how to solve it now. And thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.